the king of the dark empire. In a dark alley a boy was born whose life would one day become a legend in the underworld. His name was Michael Carter. He grew up in one of the poorest neighborhoods of the city, a place filled with broken buildings, crime, and constant struggle. Michael's father worked as a dock laborer. Even after working long hours at the port, he could barely earn enough to support the family. His mother washed dishes at a small restaurant to help keep food on the table. Michael's childhood was far from easy. Even before he properly started school, he had already learned an important lesson about the world. Being a good person was not always enough to survive. You also had to be strong. When Michael was only 12 years old, something happened that changed his life forever. The reason was simple. His father couldn't repay a small debt on time. That moment burned into Michael's mind. Standing in the shadows, he silently made a promise to himself. One day, I will become so powerful that no one will ever touch my family again. But he didn't realize that the path to that power would slowly pull him into darkness. The first step into crime during his teenage years, Michael began spending more time on the streets than in school. That's when he met Rico Alvarez, a small-time gang leader in the neighborhood. Rico quickly realized that Michael was different from the other boys. There was courage in his eyes and intelligence. He started giving Michael small tasks, delivering messages, guarding cars, and sometimes collecting money. At first, Michael was afraid, but the first time he worked for just 1 hour and earned as much money as his father made in an entire week, something changed inside him. He began to believe that this life might be the one meant for him. Slowly, he became an important member of the gang. By the age of 17, Michael already knew how to make deals, how to intimidate enemies, and how to stay one step ahead of the police. The rise within a few years, Rico's gang became powerful in several parts of the city. But there was one problem. Rico was emotional and impulsive. Michael was the opposite. He always planned carefully and stayed calm in difficult situations. One day, a serious conflict broke out inside the gang. Some members believed Rico was making poor decisions. For the first time, Michael stepped forward as a leader. He gathered everyone together and presented a bold plan, expanding their operations by forming partnerships with bigger criminal groups in the city. The plan worked. Within months, the gang's income multiplied. People began to realize something important. The real brain behind the gang wasn't Rico, it was Michael Carter. Rico realized it too, but by then it was already too late. One night, the gang members secretly made a decision. They needed a new leader, and that leader would be Michael Carter. The birth of an empire. After becoming the leader, Michael completely transformed the gang. He didn't limit their activities to small street crimes anymore. He expanded into bigger operations: illegal gambling, stolen car networks, large-scale black market deals. Soon, he built connections with powerful people in the city. Some corrupt police officers even began secretly working for him. Gradually, a new name spread throughout the underworld of Michael Carter. People began calling him the Shadow King. because he rarely appeared in public, yet many parts of the city were under his control. The war for the throne, but with power comes enemies. Another powerful gang leader ruled much of the city's criminal world, Victor Lorenzo. Victor had been the king of the underworld for many years, and he didn't like Michael's rapid rise. A cold war began between the two gangs. Then, one day, Michael's closest friend James was shot and killed. Everyone believed Victor was behind it. That day, something inside Michael hardened forever. He made a decision. There will be only one king in this city. The bloodiest months, the following months, were terrifying for the city. Gunfire echoed in the streets. Violent clashes between the two gangs claimed many lives. The police tried again and again to control the situation, but Michael always stayed one step ahead. His plans were so precise that many times the authorities couldn't even understand how the events had unfolded. Finally, one night, everything came to an end. Michael led his men to Victor's secret hideout. By dawn, Victor Lorenzo's empire had fallen, and a new king rose in the underworld of Michael Carter. The price of power, but power often comes with loneliness. Michael was surrounded by people, yet he trusted no one. Long ago, his mother had warned him, if you walk the path of crime, one day you will lose everything. Back then, he didn't listen, but now those words often echoed in his mind. But just when his empire seemed untouchable, the beginning of the end arrived. Federal investigators had been secretly building a case against him for years. They gathered evidence quietly, piece by piece. Then, one early morning, agents raided Michael's mansion. Many of his closest associates were arrested. For the first time in years, Michael realized the game might finally be over. The fall, the trial became a national sensation. Every day, the media reported new details about the empire he had built. The whole country watched as the story unfolded in court. Finally, the judge delivered the verdict. Michael Carter was sentenced to many years in prison. As police escorted him out of the courthouse, reporters shouted questions. One journalist asked, "Do you regret the life you lived?" Michael remained silent for a moment. Then he calmly replied, "I only wanted to become powerful, but somewhere along the way, I didn't realize that power had already led me into darkness." The legend now. In a small prison cell, Michael often thinks about the past. He wonders, what if he had chosen a different path? What if he had used his intelligence and talent for something better? But time never moves backward, has changed. New gangs have appeared, new kings have risen. But in the history of the underworld, one name still echoes like a legend: Michael Carter. The story of a poor boy who searched for power, became the king of a dark empire, and finally learned one simple truth: the rule of darkness never lasts forever.